Hey guys, welcome back to Mow Time and welcome back to part 2 of this front yard and garden makeover. So today we are just putting some turf down, or sod for you guys in America. So just along this front nature strip. I've already done the digging out of it. As you can see there behind me, it's just this front nature strip. We're going to put some Surwalter in today. The people who live here just currently don't want to do the very front section on the guttering, but they want this front fence done. So I didn't get a chance to film the me digging it out just because it's been super windy, and in Brisbane here we're expecting a downpour of rain, but it's actually never come through. And as you can see above and behind me, it is blue sky with a bit of clouds. So hopefully the rain comes later once the turf is down, so I don't have to water it in. But anyway, so I've already done the digging out of the previous old, 99% weeds that were there, and then I've gone through with the metal rake and just roughed it all up and loosened the soil up because it was quite solid under there. So yeah, when you're laying new turf, you want to dig out your existing stuff that's already there, and roughly down to the height of the new turf going down. If you have rubbishy soil with no nutrients down there already, then you will need to dig down a little bit further to put some new fresh organic fertilized soil down to lay your new turf on. It'll just really help with bedding in the new turf and helping root growth and feeding the new turf to establish nice and healthy. So this soil here is actually pretty good, but I do have a bit of organic soil just to put down, so I'm just going to put a nice little top dress over the existing soil, and then we'll get the sod down. So yeah, alright guys, so I have spread out the new soil, as you can see here, and yeah, just sort of next step is to make sure that it is all level. So with this area, it's quite compacted soil underneath, so I didn't need to use a roller. So in some circumstances when you're laying turf, if you've added a lot of new soil to the area, obviously it hasn't sat there a while, it hasn't been rained on, hasn't been stood on, so over time it will sink. So make sure if you're adding like really 100 mil or more of soil to a new turfed area, do get a roller or hire a roller from Bunnings or wherever, and do roll it flat, because over time the soil will settle, and instead of a nice flat lawn you started with, you'll end up with a nice wavy lawn and it won't be nice and smooth and flat. And then when you mow it, you'll see where all the chunks are coming out, where your high spots and your low spots are. So preparation is key when it comes to laying turf. Do proper prep work, take the time, do it properly the first time, and you won't have to go back and fix your mistakes in the future. So like I said, if you're adding a lot of soil down, hire yourself a roller, roll the soil first before putting the turf down. Some guys don't do that, but I recommend doing that because if you roll it first with just the soil, then you can still look back or get down low and see your low spots and get some extra soil and fill in those low spots before you lay your turf on that. So I haven't needed again to do that today because I've only just added that very fine, like 20 mil of soil on top, and underneath has already been sitting here for many years, so it's already compacted. But yeah, just a little tip there if you are laying 100 mil or more soil in. Okay. Alright guys, so now it's time to make some cuts. So if you're up to that stage where, you know, like here, your turf is overhanging, and you've got to make cuts in your turf, there's several different ways you can cut turf. So, first one is a way I used to use, and that was a machete. So, you can get a machete. The only thing with machete, just make sure it is super sharp, or it just won't cut properly, and you'll be there hacking away at your turf, just completely destroying it and not cutting it where you want to. Next is if you're cutting next to concrete and your blade keeps hitting the concrete, then you're just blunting your blade. So that is one method, but I wouldn't recommend it. Second method is the one I use. So it's not exactly a turf cutting tool, but it does the job. A shovel. So with the shovel though, one, it can't be a cheap one because they are too flimsy. You've got to have a good quality shovel where the neck and the handle are nice and solid. Don't buy cheap shovels because they are too flimsy, they wobble. They're like a cheap golf club. It just wobbles all over the place, and yeah, your ball ends up every which way but straight. So shovel is the same. Get a good quality shovel. It does make for easier digging and easier cutting. But once, if you do have a shovel, you need to sharpen it. So now and then I get the grinder out and just give mine a little sharpen, and it's nice and sharp for cutting. So yeah, this is the shovel I use generally for cutting my turf. It saves lugging another tool on board, and it does the job. As long as it's sharp, it'll cut the turf cleanly, and you just line it up where you want to go. You've got a nice straight edge on your shovel to follow along, and you just jam your foot on top of it, cut right through. Other ways are actual turf cutting tools. So there are actual tools from Bunnings or landscape yards that you can buy, actual turf cutting tools. I just never bothered, again, because I just use a sharp shovel and it does just as good a job. But you can go get one of them and they're more specific for turf cutting, but whatever, each to their own. So yeah, now when you're laying your turf too, before you cut, just make sure your pieces are butted up nicely. So you can see my two pieces joining here, there is no gap there. And also be very wary, which is what I find some people make the mistake of when they're laying turf. They don't realize that they've laid one piece on top of another piece at the ends here. So they'll have it sitting up and sitting over the top of another piece. So that means that piece on top is not touching the dirt and will not survive. So make sure your pieces are butted up nicely, check on them once you've put all your turf down, and make sure they are both touching the dirt so they can get their roots reaching towards that soil. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's get into the cutting. I'll make my way down and yeah, got a fair bit of cutting to make. We'll get stuck into it. Okay. Alright guys, as you can see behind me, the turf is down and it's looking pretty good. So yeah, you see our edges are meeting up, everything is cut cleanly, and yeah, looking good. So we are done here. So the last thing to do is, as you probably all guessed it, water it in. So with turf, number one rule is don't let it dry out. When it is new turf, it cannot dry out. We are not in summer here yet in Australia, but we are in spring. But there's still some warm days that come through, so you just need to make sure that it does not dry out, or that's when you will start to lose your turf. So generally, the way to go, depending again on the weather, whether it's raining, obviously you get a good lot of rain, you don't need to put your irrigation on or put your sprinkler out. But if you don't, then you need to put your sprinkler on. So really 3 times a day to start off with: morning, midday, late afternoon. Your more heavy water is probably in the morning. You don't ideally want turf sitting drenched overnight, because the rule of thumb is that generally means you can introduce diseases and whatnot into your lawn if it's just sitting there moist all the time. So your main watering must be done in the morning, but obviously keep an eye on it throughout the day. It is tough if you go to work, but currently here in Brisbane, most people are working from home, given what's going on in the world currently. If you are one of those people, it does make it much easier, obviously, to do your watering during the day. So yeah, keep the water up, go out and check it, feel under the turf. If the soil is dry, then obviously you're leaving it too long between your waters. So you need a good solid week of watering. Keep an eye on it, keep checking. If patches are dying off, that might mean that they're not getting enough water, or 2, your soil to turf contact is not happening enough. So just stick your foot on it, push it down, or maybe get a little bit more soil and pack it in there, so you're going that turf to soil contact. So yeah, so that's it. So last step is watering. One thing I will mention, which I didn't do today because, you know, with small patches like this, I don't generally use it. You can use a starter fertilizer, which you got to apply down before putting the turf down. So put your soil down, then you can put a starter application fertilizer down. Make sure it is a starter fertilizer though. Don't just buy any fertilizer and apply it, put it down. You can't do that. With your nitrogen, your potassium, phosphate, all that sort of stuff, that is for established turf. You know, you can't see, I put down Sir Walter Buffalo today. I can't go buy Buffalo fertilizer and put that down there, put the turf on top. It is too high in nitrogen and it'll just kill it. You really just want something that promotes root growth. If you don't want to put like a granular fert down that's a starter fertilizer, you can get an application like sea sol, just your hose on sea sol packs. They're really good for root growth, root building, and can give your turf a bit of a kick along. So you know, you can buy a pack of that. I think for a 2-pack it's like 20 bucks from Bunnings, so super cheap. Buy that, cook it onto your hose and give your turf a good drench in that, and that'll just sort of help root growth along and establish your turf faster. So that's it, we'll wrap it up for today. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you learned something from today in the way of laying turf. Any questions, just put them in the comments below. If you're new to the channel, just make sure to subscribe. I am quite a new channel, but it helps out if you could subscribe and hit that notification bell. And yeah, any likes or dislikes on the video, let me know. But yeah, enjoy your day. I hope you're all staying well, mentally and physically, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.